I'm joined today on the Getaway by guitarist, composer, vocalist, author, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame member, and Grammy winner, Jorma Kaukonen. Jorma, welcome to the Getaway.
It's me, the Renaissance man. Thank you.
All right. Well, thanks for taking time of your day today and joining us. So,
yeah, man.
Tomorrow night, you and Jack, Acoustic Hot Tuna, performing at the Chandler Center for the Arts in Randolph. That's Thursday the 11th at 7:30 p.m. Have you performed at the Chandler before?
You know, that's a good question, and these are the kind of things I tend not to remember. I'm going out on a limb. For some reason, I think so, because I've been up there a lot, but I'm not betting the farm on it.
Okay, yeah, I've seen you a few different times around the state, but I don't recall that venue either. So
it could be a new one. I don't know. Somebody out there knows, I'm sure.
Yeah, it's a nice little, very cool. Old theater, totally Vermont style, and nice and homey.
We love that.
Nice and
we
homey.
love that. Yeah.
All right, so you're out on tour, you and Jack do an acoustic tour, and also you have a new memoir, Been So Long, My Life and Music. And
correct.
It's also the title of one of your songs. Why did you use that song title for the book as well?
What a coincidence. No, actually, it was thought out. I mean, I guess just because it really, because it's been so long. And, when I started to work on the project, we were bouncing around titles and stuff, and that one just kind of smacked me in the face. And I thought, I'm not going to go any further than that.
If it's a winner right there off the bat, and stay with it.
Well, one hopes. In any case, it really pretty much seemed to fill the bill.
Okay, that sounds good. And so there's one line in that song that always grabbed my attention in the chorus, "Been so long since I felt at home in the mirror."
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's sort of like, the getting comfortable in your own skin metaphor. And it's funny because I wrote that song a long time ago, which is way before I really realized how important that was. But, all things considered, it was a good line, and it was true then. And it's less true now, but the metaphor still holds.
Gotcha. So are you at home in the mirror now?
I pretty much so. I sort of accepted that when I look in the mirror, it's an old guy that doesn't have as much hair as he used to, but can still play the guitar pretty good.
Nice. Do you have an idea of how old you were when you wrote that tune?
Yeah, let me think here now. I remember we were recording at Wally Hyder's. I'm guessing that song was probably written in it started to emerge in 71.
Okay. All right. So, the arrangement of that tune, again, Been So Long, it's one of your songs, and also the title of your new memoir. I'm talking with Jorma Kaukonen of Hot Tuna and Jefferson Airplane. The arrangement of that song, to me, it feels like there's alternating tension, building and releasing throughout, and then finally crescendo, and then peacefully resolves.
Right.
Talk about that. I have a question, but
Sure.
Talk about that.
Well, that was really well put. I don't think I write songs like that anymore, but I wrote a lot of when I was writing songs back in that time. I don't think I thought about it like this because I just wrote where I was at the time. But looking back on it now, you pretty much summed up the way the song manifests itself to me today. I mean, there are a number of separate movements in it. There's the set of changes that the words go over, and then there's the sort of out-of-character instrumental stuff that builds up to the crescendo. I mean, I could listen. If I was asking somebody to synopsize my song with words, what you just said fill the bill.
Wow, thanks. Would you say that, would it be a stretch to say that song structure parallels your life?
That's a good point. I mean, again, I can't claim, I can't claim a conscious effort on my part, but yes, I could certainly look at it, and I would have to agree with you there. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, so Acoustic Hot Tuna tomorrow night in Randolph at the Chandler Center for the Arts. I think there's still tickets available, but you better get on the horn if you're thinking about going. The number is 728 9878 or online at chandler-arts.org. We're talking with Jorma Kaukonen on the Getaway this afternoon. On a personal level, Jefferson Airplane's Volunteers album came out in 1969. I was 7 years old. I remember.
Yikes.
I remember hearing the title track and just feeling 2 minutes of absolute pure passion. And
right.
It grabbed me as a kid. I mean, the tone of your guitar, the attitude of your playing on that, especially the little solo that's in there, it jolted me
right.
and grabbed my attention. And I thought, what the hell was that? I want more of that.
Right. Well, the Jefferson Airplane, when it was good, was a very passionate band. I mean, that was the deal. And since we're looking at it in terms of passion, I'm thinking that maybe the reason that I sort of drifted away from the band and into Hot Tuna was as the passion that I felt was diminishing. Paul, if he were still alive, would probably disagree with me. But yeah, the Jefferson Airplane was a passionate band, and those were exciting times for all of us on a lot of levels. I mean, not just on the personal level and on the social level, on the political level, but we were still sort of discovering things to do with our music, and when they just exploded out of us.
Well, it definitely caught this kid's attention at the time, and millions of
Listen, anytime you can catch a 7-year-old kid's attention is a good thing.
Oh yeah, exactly. And I was like the little boy bouncing around the room, and if something kept me still for 30 seconds, that was significant.
Totally, yeah.
All right, so getting back to Been So Long, you released that 71-ish or so, you said, in an electric Hot Tuna setting.
Right, correct.
So
we recorded it. It's on Pull Up, Pull Down, which is a live album.
Yep.
Although on the recorded version, there's a little tag thing at the end of the song where there's a verse. Somebody was just asking me the other night, what happened to that verse? I said, it was a live record. I don't know why I overdubbed that in there. I hated it, and I've never sung it since.
Ooh, wow.
I never did it live. It's never appeared live. That's not in the song. I don't know. Who knows,
Yeah.
I got carried away. I fell in love with my own words and couldn't cut. I don't know what the deal was. But anyway, so, if you write, you know what I'm talking about. But but anyway, so there it is on the record, but it has never been heard live or anywhere else.
Okay. And many years later, I guess it's about 10 years ago from present day, you kind of restructured it and released it in an acoustic setting.
Right, correct. I remember when I wrote the song originally, I wrote it on the acoustic guitar, as I did so many of the Hot Tuna things that involved fingerstyle stuff, even though we blazed away with them electrically. And I've always liked the version that Jack and I have done electrically, which for me is essentially the same as I do it acoustically. But on River of Time, I just really wanted to restate it in a way how it was written, and I was able to do it with Barry Mitterhoff and Larry Campbell, which, of course, was a treat and an honor.
Sure. Yeah, I actually know Barry from a music camp down in Maryland. We both were teaching at the time.
Oh, is that Higher Ground?
No, it's Common Ground.
Oh, I'm sorry, Common Ground. Yeah, I've been there twice. That's a great little festival camp.
Yeah, it is a really nice thing that they do.
Totally.
All kinds of genres of music and instruments and art forms that folks can participate in and learn from.
Yeah, eclectic is an understatement for Common Ground.
Right. Yeah, so I met Barry there, I guess, 20 years ago or so. He was teaching mandolin and I was teaching didgeridoo, and we met at lunch one day.
Awesome.
Okay, we're talking with Jorma Kaukonen of Hot Tuna and Jefferson Airplane, acoustic Hot Tuna tomorrow night at the Chandler Center for the Arts in Randolph, chandler-arts.org for some more information. So, Jorma, why right now release the memoir?
Well, that's a really good question, and there's no. I wish we had a wittier answer, but I've been writing and blogging stuff for a number of years, and believe me, I'm the first to realize that journaling and blogging is not the same as writing a book. But I've always sort of kept diaries, even before the internet existed, and all this sort of stuff. So I was just talking to my wife about it, and she goes, "This could be the time to write a memoir." And I went, "Well, a memoir, that doesn't mean I die when I finish the last page. That's not what it's all about. She says, yes, I understand. It could be the time. So she got it. Somehow she hooked up with St. Martin's Press, and they made us a deal, which we signed. And then I'm deadline driven. So had I not gotten the deal, I don't know whether I would have actually done it or not. But as soon as we actually got the deal, I jumped into it, and I found out that I really dug the process. And, a year and a half, 2 years later, it was done.
Did you have someone helping you out, like a
I did not.
Ooh.
I wrote. Well, first of all, I wrote it all myself. Now, it's not as told to or co-written by me. I wrote it myself. Did I have people helping me? You bet. Because I know a lot of people that are writers or teach English lit, and not to mention the folks at St. Martin's Press. And there are a lot of tweaking things that I think made me over the long haul a better writer, and made the story a better story. But the words are all mine and all that kind of stuff.
That's great. Yeah. So it's good to have those tweakers and fine tuners.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, I've nothing. Listen, it's just like somebody editing your music in a studio or something like that. I mean, a lot of artists do that themselves. I'm not that guy. Once I do my work, I like to pass it on to somebody I trust to see if they can make it better.
That's cool. Yeah, leave it to the experts in that particular field.
It is for me. That's the way it is for me, yeah.
That's cool. I remember hearing you say at one point, early Airplane days in San Francisco, there was a DJ who somehow got some of your music, and you were emphasizing the concept of bands needing luck. And
sure,
this particular DJ liked your stuff and started playing it, and it caught fire in the Bay Area. So,
right.
You remember who that was?
That's another really great question. The answer is, I specifically don't remember. One of the DJs that took note of us was Sly Stone. Wow. It was way before Sly and the Family Stone, and he had us on the show live and played some of our stuff. I don't know whether he was the guy or not, but there was a number of things that happened in San Francisco. There were certainly at least a DJ, and maybe that DJ that we can't think of who it is right now. Although keep in mind, this is no baloney. We actually did Sly Stone's show a couple of times, and he did play us.
Wow.
Ralph Gleason, the jazz writer, also took us seriously and wrote about us, and the confluence of all the stuff that was beginning to emerge in San Francisco. I mean, you can't script that stuff because there's a lot of talented musicians in this world. If we lived in L.A., it probably wouldn't have happened.
Mm-hmm. What station was Sly on?
I think for some reason, I think it's KDIA Lucky 13. I'd have to look it up. But these things float out of your mind. KDIA Lucky 13. For some reason, I think that's it. It was a station out of Oakland.
You got the jingle in your head.
Is that nutty or what?
That's totally nutty. I love that. That's cool. Oh, man. So I wanted to ask you about your relationship with Ron Pigpen McKernan of the Grateful Dead.
Sure.
And I know on that same album, River of Time, a few years back, you did one of his songs, Operator.
Sure.
So I want to know why you picked that song, and give us some insight about your relationship with Pig. I mean, were you guys like super tight or just hang out once in a while?
No. When I met Pig the first year I moved to California in '62, and at that time, he was such an amazing guy and such a powerful artist. When I met him, he was a pretty young teenager, but he always looked like the Pigpen we know. I mean, he was like an old soul beyond being an old soul. I mean, he was never. When I first met him, they called him Blue Ron McKernan, but he morphed into Pig. But he was Pigpen,
Yeah.
And so. We didn't really. I was older than him, and I was going to college, and he was becoming Pigpen. So we didn't really hang out in that way. But we did get to play a couple times together, and his commitment and identity as a blues musician was so powerful. Even if that, it was never even came into question. A lot of us guys like myself that were like, going to college but still played the blues. It was like. We'd worry, when are we going to become authentic blues guys, Pig was always an authentic blues guy. There was never any question that he was anything but that. And so, I think we respected each other as musicians. We didn't hang together because, first of all, he lived in Palo Alto. I lived in San Jose. In the beginning, I didn't have a car. So we would see each other at gigs and stuff like that. He was sort of like in the Garcia orbit of things. But before the Warlocks and the Grateful Dead, he certainly had a blues identity all of his own. And it is unfortunate, you know, to me, he was the sound of the Grateful Dead for a long time until he wasn't. And I'm certainly not categorizing one period of the Grateful Dead as being better than another because their story is an amazing story. But I love the funky rhythm and blues era of when Ron was like the front guy of the band.
Yeah, gotcha. And didn't Pigpen and Garcia start that band as a blues band?
Absolutely. You know, they certainly were. I'm not saying, yeah, I guess, you know, in a way, because like Love Light, all those, I mean, he was the front guy of the band. So I guess the answer to your question, even though we can't ask either of them to you know, give me bona fides on this, but my answer would be yes.
Jorma, I wanted to talk about a couple years ago, maybe a few years ago now, Hot Tuna did a tour. It came through Vermont, and you had multi-instrumentalist and world music pioneer, adventurist, I like to say, David Lindley opening up a few shows for you. So,
yeah, sure.
Talk about your relationship with David. He plays so many different instruments from all over the world. I love the combination of the world instruments and what you and Jack do.
You know, when you talk about David Lindley, he brings so much to the table. You know, when you hear what he does today, it's hard to imagine, in a way, that he was kind of like the signature sound for Jackson Browne back in the day. You know, all those slide solos and stuff.
Yep.
I mean, here's a guy like David Lindley. I mean, he's playing like an instrument like the saz that has 3 frets for every note. I mean, what's up with that? You know, and when he plays, because he's really studied indigenous world music, a lot of stuff. When he plays that stuff, he plays it like he's lived it. And when he plays blues or Americana on those same instruments with these, like I said, with what's up with that 3rd fret, you know, with the extra frets and stuff, it sounds authentic. I mean, his vision. Yeah, I mean, first of all, he's such a funny guy. If you've talked to him, you know exactly what I mean.
Yeah, he's a twisted individual and very entertaining.
Totally. He's a great guy and he's very entertaining. But he's a really deep cat. Yep. And his approach to music and how it fits into the scheme of the universe, to me, there's nobody else like him. There really isn't. And whatever he's doing, it just, no matter how bizarre it is, you go, man, that's weird. But it sounds right. And I know you know what I mean. I mean, he's not like one of these guys that throws something in that's cool, but does it really fit in a blues song? The answer is whatever he does fits in whatever song he's playing. He's one of the most amazing, I mean, we're not talking about his clothes or shoes either right now, by the way.
Nice.
He's just one of the most amazing musicians I know. And his musical, artistic vision is so without boundaries. But again, it just, whatever he's doing, it just seems right. You never give it a second thought, you know, that he's playing some really odd-ass instrument. You know, or he's playing blues on a bouzouki or whatever, you know. Yeah, it's just unbelievable.
Right. He's playing a Merle Haggard song in Madagascar.
Yeah, exactly. But it sounds right.
Exactly. Right. I mean, I gotcha.
It's like, I didn't know Merle went to Madagascar.
David took him there.
Oh, yeah, man. He's truly unbelievable. And I just can't say enough about him as an artist. I mean, he's so beyond interesting. And, again, you know, the instruments that he's chosen to play over the years, of course, he's always been in that zone, you know, but he just keeps getting better and better. I mean, I like to think my pitch is pretty good, but you will never hear me playing a fretless instrument, ever.
Yeah, well, David, he lives in that world pretty much.
He does. Yeah, absolutely.
We're talking with Jorma Kaukonen of Hot Tuna and Jefferson Airplane Hot Tuna, again, performing tomorrow night in Randolph, Vermont at the Chandler Center for the Arts. Also talking about his good buddy, David Lindley. And recently I pulled up on YouTube a couple videos of you and David playing at your Fur Peace Ranch in Ohio.
Right, exactly.
So tell us a little bit about Fur Peace Ranch.
Well, the Fur Peace Ranch, you know, we're into coming to the close of our 21st year. Vanessa and I own about 126 acres in southeast Ohio. It's the Appalachian foothills, really beautiful country. And in the '98, we opened this little music school, the Fur Peace Ranch. which is so called because it's a fur piece from anywhere. We're not a waypoint. We're absolutely a destination. We're in a little rural county with less than 20,000 people in it. And bringing David's name into the mix with the Fur Piece Ranch is so perfect because we have musical communities that just transcend boundaries. It could be David Lindley. It could be Gretchen Peters, great Nashville songwriter that was there last weekend. It could be Woody Mann. It could be me. It could be David Bromberg. Could be Larry Campbell. Could be almost anybody, you know. And the community that gets created there in the 4 days that the sessions comprise really transcend those boundaries. And you know, I've made so many friends as a result of the Fur Piece Ranch that I never would have met otherwise. And it's just a great place to invite your soul in the safety of like-minded spirits.
Wow, that sounds fantastic. So if folks want more info, how do they get in touch with Fur Piece Ranch?
The best way would be to go to www.furpeaceranch, furpeaceranch.com, and just take the tour and see what's going on, and then either click on stuff or call Brother John Hurlbut. His number's in there, and you know, and since I mentioned John, you know, David Lindley always talks like he's just escaped from Jamaica, and my friend John does too. So the two of them together is beyond hilarious.
With Jimmy Stewart thrown in.
And with Jimmy Stewart thrown in, exactly. Yeah, that's really funny stuff.
Oh man, that's great. All right, so we're just about out of time. I want to thank Jorma Kaukonen for joining me here on the Getaway on WDEV FM and AM. And again, tomorrow night, Acoustic Hot Tuna at the Chandler in Randolph. Jorma has a new memoir out, Been So Long, My Life and Music, which can be found anywhere online and around the world. You can get this brand new book just out, I think, weeks ago. Hey, Jorma, thank you so much for spending some time with us today, and we'll see you tomorrow night right here in Little Old Vermont.
Well, listen, thanks for giving a darn, and be sure to stop by and say hi, and you and I will talk about the important things we need to talk about.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.
Cool, man. Thank you.